Well, I'm really delighted to have Joel Mallet from probably is it Alkonost Press? Where do you mainly work? What's the publishing house that you tend to be connected with?
It's, yeah, it's Alkonost Publishing actually. Yeah, but my
Fantastic.
main work is for Harper and Collins actually. So
Ah,
I have several clients,
many
So,
hats to
but
wear.
for Harper and Collins, it's not the same thing. Let's say it's another genre that I translate.
Fantastic. Cool. So you are a translator, and you've been specialising quite a bit in fabled lands, and doing
Yeah,
all the
actually, because it was the first books I translated for Alchemist, and you know, with time, it just happens, but you become the the specialist. Let's say I
yeah.
don't know
So,
how to say it otherwise.
but I'm going to take you back in time. I'm going to take you back in time to sort of finding your very first game book and what kind of reaction it was. And can you remember what it was?
I think it was Jamie Thompson's Wave the Tiger. I don't know the English
Wow.
name, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, yes, Where the Tiger.
it was quite fantastic to read these books when I was a kid, and then suddenly when I was in my, let's say, 20s, I've I had the chance to work on Fablelands, by Jamie
Yeah.
Thompson's, and I didn't realize it was him, who wrote part of the books. And when I realized it, I was like, whoa, that's that's just
That
amazing.
that's insane, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah,
So at the time, obviously, you kind of, how old are you when you kind of picked Where the Tiger up and started playing
I think I was like
game books?
8 or 9, something like this.
Okay.
It was must have been 1995, 1996, something like that. So it was already, disappearing from, stores and everything. So I had to go to flea markets to find these books. And
Yes.
yeah, it was you paid like maybe 50 cents, something like this, and you had this amazing book. And now yeah, they're just coming back, and
And
some of them
you
are
live
like,
in France. So
yeah,
for
yeah, I
those that
live
don't
in
know,
France.
and I mean, was there quite a big scene in France with game books and fighting fantasy and um,
Yeah,
lone
but
wolf and role
there was
playing?
actually, yeah, because we also had, we had Gallimard translating all the, fighting fantasies and stuff. And we had French versions of these books, French collections,
Yeah.
which were called Histoire à jouer, which is like stories to play. And we had lots of them, yeah, on different themes and, for several kind of publics and everything. So yeah, it was quite important in the 80s and 90s. But, as everywhere else, it just, faded away somehow and
Yeah,
without
indeed.
disappearing, it
I mean,
just,
in our schools, I remember everyone having, some kind of game book, or at the time, most of the boys having a
yeah.
game book. It seems there's a lot more sort of genders reading them now, which is fantastic. It's
It's
much more
true, yeah.
inclusive.
We tend to, let's say, not target, but to, yeah, not to target only boys. We try to write these books for everyone. You know,
Yeah,
for
and
you know,
absolutely. So,
just
were you a role player? Was that something you got into? Was it Dungeons and
absolutely
Dragons or
not, absolutely
really?
not. I was, yeah. That's the weird stuff with me. I don't, play role playing games. I play video games a lot,
Yes.
and I played a lot when I was a kid, but I still read a lot as well. So I think the connection is with video games for me. It's not with role playing or anything. It's just fantasy and fantastic stuff and horror books and stuff like
Yeah.
this. So it's not role playing, and lots of people ask me like, but why are you doing this then if you're not into this? It's
Oh, did you
just
read fantasy books? So were you into fantasy
Yeah,
novels and things like
when I was a kid, I was like, I really loved, stories about vampires, monsters, and
that.
stuff. All the Victorian, classics, and it was logical, let's say, for me to not to become a writer or translator, but to try and work with words and tell stories in my own way. So yeah, I
For
read a
for
lot when I
me,
was a kid.
I mean, this would be controversial, and people probably vehemently disagree with me. But I think if you're reading a novel, you are essentially role playing. You know, you're drawn
Yeah,
into that
that's
character. You picture yourself in that situation, and if it's a good book and you're absorbed, you'll go away role playing situations that you've read in the book which aren't connected to the actual storyline. You know, that
yeah, it makes
again with a
sense
great
actually.
film, you're role playing. I think that's why role playing just takes it even further, and you're doing it in a group discussion.
Yeah.
Um, but so for you, when you started getting into the Fable lands, was that your first translation into game books? Yeah, I believe it was.
First translation as a game book, yeah, I had, but actually it was quite one of my first contracts as a professional translator, because
Mm,
I don't know in England or anything or anywhere else, but it's a bit complicated to find, a job after you graduate. So yeah, it was
mm,
quite one of my first contracts, and that's why I'm really fond of this series, because it helped me, getting started. So I really love it, not because of not only because of the fantasy and the nostalgic aspect of it and everything, but just also because it's like uh, when I when I finally got to work on these books, I was like, yeah, I made it. I'm a translator. So
yeah.
that's also another thing that I like about this series.
So tell me the process. I mean, obviously, it's already written, but you said earlier, I mean, do you have to kind of rewrite it for a French, not just the language, but a French audience? Is there things you have to kind of
Yeah,
tweak? And kind of, it might
yeah,
work
that's
better
it.
that way.
Actually, you can't really, just translate it like, take word by word and then just say,
Mm,
okay, it's done. You have to think about, French readers, French way of thinking, and sometimes the rhythm of sentences is not the same,
mm,
in French and English, because don't the languages don't sound the same. It's not the same rhythm, it's not the same music, let's say. So you have to adapt this, to French ear, let's say. And
yeah,
also some puzzles sometimes. We had one in Fablelands 2 where you have to, move letters and move spaces between letters. So I tried to
mm,
do it like, let's say, just apply the same stuff. And one of our reviewers just told me that it doesn't work. Actually, in French, it didn't work. So we had to
yeah,
rewrite it again, change the entire, puzzle, and yeah, try to have something that would be easier for French readers. Because for England, it was maybe more natural to do it this way.
yeah.
And for France, it didn't work actually.
So
So
what's your
yeah, sometimes you
process?
have to do like
You,
this.
you're given a new book, Fable
Yeah,
Lands 11, and they say, do you play it through, or do you just start dissecting it? Do you, or is it just
actually,
a
I try to play it, just to see the kind of atmosphere and everything, kind of
mm,
characters and stuff. But I think I'm not. Yeah, a lot of people are not gonna like what I'm gonna say, but I don't translate it following the game. I just take chapters by chapters and then translate it
yeah,
because I get lost if I do it otherwise. So
yeah,
yeah, some other people just like to translate it like they play it. Like you start by one and then you go to let's say 134 and
yeah,
then you do everything. I just like to have everything, one, two, three, four, five, and then we test it with Laurent Centraux, who is the publisher,
yeah.
and he's doing quite a good job at this. It's just a matter of time, actually. If I had more time, I would, you know, test it like this, translate it like this. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a long process. So.
How long does it take then? Who says how long is long?
Uh, if I'm totally on it. If I, give it my all on it, I can make it 2 or 3 months like this
Okay.
without, the testing phase.
And
But
then the testing, how is it
yeah,
one
the
person or you have a
reviewing and
several group?
correction and everything, it's okay in 2 or 3 months. But the testing for me, it's longer because I'm not used to it, and I should get used to it.
Yeah.
I should get to it to avoid, just to ease the pain of my publisher. But he's too kind with me. He said, "Yeah, I don't mind. I will do it." So I
That's
take
good.
advantage of it. That's
He probably enjoys playing it. He's probably, oh, this is fun.
yeah.
I'll get another one to. This is work.
That's
I'm
it.
going to be playing. No, I'm working. You know, it's a great excuse. It's, and are there
Yeah.
any of the sort of the lands and the worlds and or names that you kind of don't work in French, or it means something a little bit too close to a French word that would be
Yeah, we had
problematic?
one. I don't remember what name it was in England. In English, it was something with Obgobble, something like this. It was
Yeah,
a fake monster, invented by crooks in a village. And
yeah,
I had to think of another name, that would be as stupid as the English name,
yeah,
and also, as enigmatic. It was it was a bit hard, for this stuff. But sometimes, just the names of people, of characters, you try to find, the root of the name, etymology and stuff, but
mm,
it doesn't work or it just doesn't add up. But with Fablelands, I'm lucky because I can talk with Dave Morris and Jamie Thompson
yeah.
to ask them what it means and if they had, some kind of reference to it or something like that. So
Okay.
we can always, find a way to find.
How much
Uh,
involvement do Dave and Jamie have?
Sorry.
Yeah, how much
Uh,
involvement do they have? Do
Um,
they check on you, or do you just check in on them when you
no,
got a
no,
problem?
they don't check on us, on Alkonost, or even on me. They trust us, I think.
Yeah,
So
quite
they
right.
saw that we can, do things properly, but we can do things professionally. So I think they trust us. If we have a question, they are here. If we have if they have questions, we're here also. But yeah, they don't. They're not on our backs all the time. They're not nagging us
That's
like,
good.
do it, do it.
And how many of the Fable Land books have you done? Have you completed them all?
Actually, number 6, volume 6 is on its way. It should
Yes,
arrive at the end of the year. So yeah, it's 6 by now, and I started reading number 7, volume 7. So
fantastic.
yeah, we're going quite good on it. It's okay, and we have to figure out a way of maybe inventing, writing number 8, 9, 10, 11, and
Uh,
12 on our own, or maybe, you know, have the original writers to finish it.
yeah. Is that something you'd like to do now? Now you've kind of absorbed yourself in these books. Do you think, oh, actually, I think I've got a game book I'd like to now write?
Actually, I would like it. I would love it, to write following titles, but I don't know if I can make it. Maybe I should just, try and then ask, Alkonost to if they find it good, or maybe just, correct it, or maybe have some kind of collective work because we have
Yeah,
French writers as well who are eager to complete the series. So it would be cool actually to have them, have one volume, at the time. So
yeah.
it would be really, really great.
That's fantastic. And now you're the go-to person for game book translations. What other sort of game books have you? Well, what other game
I don't
books have you
know.
seen
I
out
don't know
there
because it
that
sounds a
you?
bit, like pompous to say this. I think other people do it, just as
Yeah,
well as me, maybe even better than me. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm the specialist. It's not true because we have other
yeah,
translators, at Alkonos who do a great job as well, especially with
fantastic.
Jonathan Green's, collection. That's coming up, and we have
Oh,
like
tell us about that. Which ones are John's are you doing?
so we already have Alice, you know, which has been translated by Romain Baudry, who's also a writer for Alkonost, and we have Oz, the Land of Oz, Peter
Yeah,
Pan, Dracula next year, and stuff like this. So we have several translators for these. Mathieu Aymon, Gauthier Wendling, Romain Baudry, Léna Genet. So we have people who did a great job. So we hope to publish them. Publish like 4 books at the end of the year. So we should
yes,
we can finally get the French version of this fantastic series.
that's
Because
great.
it's really great.
Yeah, that's fine. And our game books, do you feel they're having a resurgence in France at the moment? 'Cause obviously, the original ones kind of went away and then they come back. But are they selling well? Are they? Is it something you
I
can
don't know
see
if they are
growing
selling,
at the moment?
like bestsellers. I don't think you can say
Mm.
that, but they have, yeah, you know that they attract people. Lots of
Yeah,
people do find them again, and come to see us and say, hey, we didn't know that they still existed and that you do new stuff. So they are quite, excited about this.
yeah,
they are really eager to discover new things and to even buy the old the old ones,
yes,
which are still published, actually. It's just that, you
good.
don't find them in lots of stores. You don't find them in every store. So
Yeah,
it's a bit hard to find them, but yeah, people are quite enthusiastic about them. So it's quite
that's
good.
good.
It's really nice for us because it's a good way to share, the passion and everything. So it's really great.
Quite right. And do you get to go out to conventions? Do you go to
Yeah,
Spiegel?
actually, we started to go to conventions in 2019, and
Yeah,
it's just the same year that we started, to have more readers and have more people, being started who started to be interested by our work. And I think going to convention for small publishing houses like Alkonost is quite important. And even as a
yeah.
writer, as a translator, it's quite important to meet with the public and to meet with people to
Mm.
talk about what you do, to show them that you are here and that you can do things, just uh, good books,
Fantastic.
just to show them
Which are
that
the
you are
big
here.
ones in France? Which conventions should people navigate towards if they want?
For game books, I think one of the biggest is like the Game Festival, International Game Festival in Cannes, which is in,
Okay,
let me remember. I don't remember, but I think it's
I'll
in
look that
May.
one up. That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
please do that because I have issues with them. And
Yeah,
you also have Octogone in Lyon, which will be in like the first week of October. It's like three
yeah,
days and it's non-stop. It's 24/7 for 3 days, and people
that's
just
great.
stay all night in the convention, and it's just crazy.
Wow, brilliant. That's
Yeah.
great. Wow, Joel, thank you so much. It sounds like you've got an awful lot going on at the moment. Any
Thank you
future
very
project?
much.
I know we've got Jonathan Greens that you'll be doing. Any other projects that you want to kind of tell us about before you?
Oh yeah, actually, there's a big one. We are working on Vulcanverse. You know, I think you've
Ah,
heard of it. Haha.
I didn't want to presume, but
Mhm.
but oh, that's brilliant. That's great.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not a surprise, because we did crowdfunding on this. So yeah, we are actually working on them. It's the first 2 books are translated. They just need
yeah,
reviewing and testing. We couldn't do
brilliant.
all 4 in one year, so we had to
Yes,
just step back and say, yeah, we can do 2. It will be hard, but we can
yeah,
do 2 of them. So it will be already this. A bit frustrating because it's true, but it's always good to have, the entire collection at one time. But yeah, for now it will be two, and then next year we will finish it, and then we will wait for
brilliant.
volume 5 and expect it. Yeah.
Which I'm sure that is either being written or is near completion. Or probably 5 and 6, to be honest with you, knowing those two.
I think
coming with the manuscripts and
Jamie Thompson having a hard time, trying to complete it as well. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. So that's really cool. So Joel, have you got any sort of social media? Where can people follow you and sort of find out your news?
Not really, actually. As a translator, I don't have this kind of blog. I should maybe get one. Start one, but it takes time to establish it, to make it, and I don't have time to do so. Maybe I should just take time to.
Well, where can people find out about the translations? Has the publishing house got a website that they should follow, or
you just
Instagram,
type
Twitter?
Edition Alkonost, and you should be able to find us, on Facebook or on just our page, I guess.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Joel. It's been very fascinating, and we'll look
Thanks
forward to
a lot.
seeing.
It was nice to meet you.
All the translations, and you. Thank you.